Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm 1 foot away from the edge of the cliff, Derek Lemaster.
Screen Bloody Movies podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and what are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about.
No?
I'm close to the edge, and I'm going
I
to...
get it, but, we don't have any context for that.
Well,
We never do, to be fair.
just know I've got a parachute on, and I'll be okay.
Well, good. Way to save it. It's a wild intro right there, Derek.
Every time.
I think he just increasingly tries to make it as awkward as possible.
He's
That
a
is
master.
untrue. That is untrue.
He's the awkward king.
Yeah.
If his superpower would just be being awkward. How are you guys doing tonight? Besides Derek and his affinity for edges. How are you doing,
good.
Lydia?
I'm doing good. I just ate a big old meal, nice and full. Ready to talk about this movie.
Good. I'm doing well, too. We just got the first looks of the movie back. That looks great. We just done some casting. We're in that process, and it's going really well. And starting to assemble the crew. Starting to get the dream team together, baby. So it is happening. So I'm in a good place. I'm ready to talk about this movie. But before we hop into the realm of the underworld, we will first join our friends in the horror news world. So I don't have a lot. And they're really not even all that interesting, but here's what I have for horror news. This one's actually pretty interesting. We talked about this a while ago. Remember when they're making that prequel to Rosemary's Baby? Do you remember us talking about that briefly?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we have a trailer and a release date. It is going to debut exclusively on Paramount Plus on September 27th. And to refresh your guys' memory, the log line for this is in Apartment 7A, which is the name of the film, by the way. In Apartment 7A, when a struggling young dancer, Julia Garner, suffers a devastating injury, she finds herself drawn in by dark forces when a peculiar, well-connected older couple promises her a shot at fame. Okay. What do you guys think of this?
Don't trust that old couple. That's what I'm thinking.
Never.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't... DTA, man. DTA.
Don't trust anyone. That's right. Stone Cold said it best, didn't he?
Oh, I thought he meant don't trust Adam. It's anyone?
You're like, who? Who's Adam? Adam West? You should always trust him. He's Batman.
I'm just kidding.
And a mayor. But what do you guys think of the concept of Apartment 7A? Are you intrigued? Are you indifferent? How are you guys feeling?
I'm definitely intrigued.
I mean, it's not a lot of information.
No, it's definitely not.
So I will save my optimism for the trailer.
Well, the trailer is out, and we
Okay.
can watch it.
I need to watch it. Okay.
But we'll watch it and then talk about it next week. It looks good. It's well shot. The cinematography looks great. I mean, it's a period piece shot, set in 1965. So, or the early 60s, at least. So that's cool. I don't love that it's being dumped onto Paramount Plus. I think something as prestigious as a Rosemary's Baby movie should definitely have been theatrical. That's just my 2 cents.
I hear you.
Okay, next. we have Mike Flanagan's Hush is now available on digital for the first time.
Nice.
So you can buy it for $14.99 or rent it across all the platforms for $5.99. This is the first time it's been available. It used to just be on Netflix, and then it was pulled off, and we've not been able to see it since. So I highly recommend you guys out there to rent or buy Mike Flanagan's Hush. Fingers crossed, Mike Flanagan teased a physical media release as well, which is really the only way that you truly own a movie. So I'm excited for that. We should do Hush at some point.
Oh, for
We
sure. I
definitely
mean,
should.
if we can watch it.
Well, we can now.
Yep. Now that we can watch it.
Yep. The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob has been renewed for a 7th season at Shudder.
Go Joe, go Joe.
Yeah, that's great news. I don't want it to ever end. Just keep going until Joe Bob either doesn't want to do it anymore or he physically can't. What are you guys thinking?
Yep. I agree.
Dude, I remember watching, and I was way too young to be watching these.
Hey, Derek.
Yeah. You want me to drink some wine?
I want you to raise your microphone up.
Dude, I mean, it's right here.
There. Okay, go ahead.
Can't do anything about that. Anyway, I remember watching Joe Bob whenever he was on the fucking movie channel.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was, and I was like 8.
Yeah.
Watching Joe Bob on the movie channel.
I remember watching him on the movie channel. Mostly, of course, though, I remember watching him on TNT, Monster Vision. Then so when the Last Drive-In came back on Shudder, I was super excited to, bring back the kind of that whole format. And so I'm glad it's going. Keep going, Joe Bob and Darcy. You guys are great.
You know what I really loved about that? And I actually don't think I ever watched the Monster Vision version.
Oh, you never watched
but...
Monster Vision? Oh my god.
No, but I remember, he would always like give you a brief recap and be like, "We got 5 dead bodies, 2 breasts."
Oh yeah.
He would give you the lowdown, and you're like, "Oh yeah, ready for this movie."
Yeah, and he'd give you all the foos, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Kung fu, gun fu. Yeah, he'd give you all the good stuff.
Lost art right there, man.
It really is. We have our first little sneak peek. Mostly just some, I guess, font and stuff for Blumhouse's Wolfman movie, directed by Lee Winnell, that is out in January of next year.
We got font.
Well, we have a little bit more, but kind of. This is from Universal Horror Nights.
That's what you're giving us, Jamie, is font.
I'm giving you more than font, but it's from Horror Nights. So I will share it with you. This is all we have so far.
I've never been so excited to see font in my life.
This is what we have, okay? So bear with me. Here we go. So we got us a little, setup here. There we go. Wolfman. We got a house. See, it's more than just font.
Okay, all right.
There's a house there too. But yeah, so this is like our introduction. There's the full moon. It's kind of our introduction to the Wolfman just in general. You guys excited for this? Lee Winnell's Wolfman? Come on.
We'll see about it. I mean,
We'll see.
I'm so excited.
I don't know, guys. It's probably going to disappoint me. Who's Lee Winnell anyway?
Yeah, okay. Okay, you should start doing this when you talk from now on. Yeah, I think we saw that one coming.
Oh, is that how we're gonna play it?
That's how we're playing it now. And that wraps up the horror news, guys. It's kind of it. Like I said, slow week for horror news, but I mean I'm excited for the Wolfman. I think that'd be cool. I can't wait to see that.
Yes, I'm
Especially
excited.
after his spin that he put on the Invisible Man. I'm excited to see what he'd do with Wolfman. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, all right, guys. Picture it. It's 2005. All right. The Matrix trilogy just ended 2 years before. All right. Batman Begins is out this year. So superheroes are starting to make their comeback because a year later, we're 1 year away from X-Men: The Last Stand. We're off the trail of Spider-Man 2, which is a masterpiece, by the way. And so, at the height of his powers, Keanu Reeves signs on to star in a DC Comics superhero film, an R-rated DC Comics superhero film. Guys, we talk about Deadpool, which of course made a bajillion dollars, but Constantine, when it came out, was no slouch. It was no slouch. I remember this thing being marketed. I remember watching the trailers. I remember being pumped up to see this thing. It's like I was really excited. I was a huge Keanu Reeves fan, and I found out a little bit about John Constantine. I knew very little, but enough about John Constantine, like the basics of the character, because of my interest in Swamp Thing, thanks to the Wes Craven movie and the '90s television show.
Dude, that '90s TV show, am I right?
Yeah, fucking legit.
Was awesome.
It was legit. Yeah.
I told Quincy the other day because I watched a random clip from it where he turned this guy into a tree because he killed a midget. And
dwarf, Derek, small person. Good lord.
Fine, he turned a guy into a tree because he killed a small person who was not a child. And she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, this is Swamp Thing. I used to watch this when I was a kid." And she just was like, "Oh my gosh."
So, yeah, this thing was all over. Derek, do you remember when this thing came out?
Oh, I do. It was 2005, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in college. And this movie rocked. It was really good. It was a fun watch.
Lydia, do you remember the first time you saw this? Because this isn't your first watch. It's your pick.
So I do remember the first time I saw this movie. I did not. It was not on my radar at all when it came out. I actually stumbled upon this movie completely by accident. I will never forget it. It stuck with me, okay? I walked into my bedroom, and my TV was on. Satellite was on, And I don't know what year this was. I must have been in high school. And I just look up and I'm like, what is this movie that's playing? And it's the scene where he's drowning her in the bathtub. And that was my introduction to this movie, guys. I was so horrified. I immediately had this, I had the option to record the next playing of the movie that was, just playing on TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I have to watch this movie from the beginning. What is this? It was the craziest, most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. I was just so scared. And I was like, okay, we gotta do this right. So I ended up watching it. And then I watched it probably 100 more times.
Yeah, I've seen this one quite a few times as well. Like I said, I was pumped for this thing to come out. I didn't get to see it in theaters, but as soon as it came out on DVD, I rented it. And we rented it and watched it And I loved it. I was like, oh, this is great. And so then I got deep into John Constantine, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, or Constantine, technically. But we'll get into all of that stuff. But I want to share you something with you guys.
Uh-oh, he's on the move.
Yep.
Give me just a second.
Okay.
Come on, old man. Threw out his back. Oh, my back. I can't move, guys.
Hey,
where'd my cane go?
It's hard carrying all of the talent on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Folks, this is what happens when you hit middle age.
No, I'm not middle aged, you son of a bitch.
This commentary from the ether is just great.
Just because Jared was around during the fucking Crusades.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusades.
So, this movie came out. I watched it, loved it so much that I went and bought this. I still have it. This 2-disc collector's edition of Constantine. It came with a comic book, and this thing was badass. So I read the comic book came with it. It had a couple of like really important Constantine comics, like the whole cancer subplot and stuff. But yeah, so needless to say, I loved this movie when it came out, and I've seen it many times since. Now, has my affinity for it changed? You'll have to wait till the end of this podcast to find out. That's called a cliffhanger, you guys. That's why we do it here in radio. So a little bit of some housekeeping on Constantine.
You notice he said radio because he's old.
So, so the character's name is, so the comic book character of John Constantine. That's his name, John Constantine, because he is English. He's a British man with blonde hair that looks like Sting. So the TV series that came out of Constantine, with Matt Ryan playing him, is more true to the comic character. But what happened is when they were writing the movie, they changed it to New York and America because it just felt, you know what I mean? It felt more. Then they moved it to LA, but it felt more like.
Thank goodness, because
yeah,
I've seen some stuff come out of England from the BBC in 2005, and it does not hold up.
No, it wouldn't have. It would have been an American production. It just would have been set. Okay. Yeah, it was a big production, but they changed the location to America, and then they made Constantine an American guy. And then once they cast Keanu Reeves, they were like they talked about oh, should we do the blonde hair, and he was going to wear a trench coat like in the comics, and then they were like, no, I think his hair should stay. He looks better the way he is. So they just rewrote him to be. So they basically say he's like a John Constantine's cousin, John Constantine in America. Are you looking up the comic character?
Yeah. I really want to see. Also, I just wanted to look up what, because you just showed the cover of your DVD like special thing.
Yep.
And I was picturing a different cover art.
Yeah, there is a cover art that is like the theatrical poster that's green and black.
Yes. Okay, so that's what I was picturing. You know what brought this up was we were talking about my lights and like how I always change the color like based on whatever movie we're watching. And I was like, I should do, like what color should I do? And Jake was like, I don't know, like the cover is black and white. And I was like, do you mean the cover's black and white? Not black and white. It's like green.
He's right. This
And
one
he
is.
saw he even said no. Jamie had it, and it was black and white. I remember.
He was right.
And he was like, and he's got the gold, weapon in his hand, and he was like, you should do like gold lights, and I was like, no, dude, I'm doing green.
So, the other little bit of housekeeping is this movie was made for between $70 and $100 million, and it grossed $230 million at the box office. So a pretty sizable hit. For an R-rated superhero movie in 2005, that's actually a lot of money.
Yeah.
When did Blade come out?
Blade came out in 1998.
I wonder how well this movie would do, like if it were to come out now. I feel like it
significantly better, probably.
Yeah, because Blade's the closest that comes to mind because he's based in Marvel. But yeah, I think this might have been just a smidge ahead of its time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's talk about Keanu Reeves. Start there. Keanu Reeves as John Constantine. What do you guys think?
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, I also think he gives a good performance in this. He's very like film noir hero, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
the flat readings and the kind of like, God's a kid with an ant farm lady, that kind of.
Love that.
Yeah, I think he nails it. Absolutely.
And he looks great. I mean, he still looks great. He never will not look great.
I mean, like, just like his like whole character, like, outfit and everything, like, looks so cool.
Yeah, it does. Shia LaBeouf is in this as Chaz.
I love his character, by the way.
A very interesting interpretation of Chaz, by the way. So, if you're a non-comic fan, all this stuff is fine because it's just a movie. But I can imagine if I was like a huge fan of the Hellblazer comics, which is what the comics were called, Hellblazer. If I was a huge Hellblazer comic fan and this movie came out, it'd have been like if we made Batman and they just changed everything. We'd have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But as a movie itself, it's good, Shia LaBeouf is fun in the movie. He's fine. And then we, of course, have Rachel Weisz in two roles, and she is fantastic, guys. Fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
I know we say this pretty much every week, except when we watch a bad movie.
The Chuck Norris one?
Maybe.
When we're watching Derek's movies, you mean?
That's. I want the numbers. But no, they really, from every character, man, they just nailed it. Like the casting director just nailed it, because every one of these characters is great. I really want to know more about Papa Midnight. I want to get some.
Dude, Papa Midnight is so cool.
He is
Papa
so
Midnight
cool.
is so cool. Here's one of the things I really love about this movie, about the movie Constantine, is we get introduced to this world, right? This metaphysical, crazy world, and we're really not given any explanation. Constantine explains a couple things to Rachel Weisz's character, like, this is that, Angela, this is that, but never goes into detail as to why. So, like, for instance, in Papa Midnight's club, he just kind of walks down and, two frogs on a bench. Just why does he have that precognition? We don't know. He just does. Or why is the portal to hell, like holding a cat and putting your feet in water, He says because there's no water in hell. And then he says, cats are half in, half out anyway. And you're just kind of like, okay. You just go along with the ride. You're like, sure. And I think it makes the world feel more lived in.
Definitely.
Because we're not getting exposition, right? We're getting just enough that it makes sense to Constantine. So therefore it makes sense to him. Then we have no choice but to go along with the ride.
Yep. I feel like that's a good observation. Yeah.
It just shocks you, and then you're like in awe of like.
Yeah, then you're just in.
Well,
and guys, go ahead, Derek.
At least with like the cat thing, like the cats have a historical lore about them. I mean, for a terrible reason, and people were dumb back in the day. But like, you could kind of like, even with our knowledge of like the superstition and the like what goes into having a cat, especially if you're from the fucking 1600s, you could kind of like piece a little bit of that together, or at least make sense of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. It's just enough. Like, for instance, with the chair, which way's east, and he points, and it's like, again, we're not given any explanation. We just
You're right. That's so cool.
Just the way it is, and we're like,
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't. In any other movie, I feel like, especially a studio, this was a Warner Brothers $100 million studio picture, and I feel like in any other one, we would have got an exposition scene. What are you doing? Well, I have to face the chair here because if we, the constellations, blah, blah, and it would explain it.
Yeah.
In Constantine, they just, all of those lines, it's like they just crossed out. And we're like,
yes,
no.
And you know what? It's so good. It's so much better for it, honestly. Like, it is so immersive.
Yeah, immerses you more into the world. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel, Tilda Swinton, fucking next level good.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
That's what I'm saying, man. They all fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton is one of our best actors, period. But God, she fucking crushes in this movie. She crushes.
She is so cool. I think, like, honestly, for me too, like watching this movie when I did, I think this was my introduction to a lot of these actors. Like, I had not seen her in anything else. I don't think I'd seen Rachel Weisz in anything else.
Yeah, you had The Mummy.
Well, The Mummy, but like,
you're like, well, yeah, probably.
I was so deadly terrified of The Mummy when I was little that like it did not even cross my mind that she was in that. Like I did not like think, oh, that's the girl from The Mummy, because I was so blindly terrified when I saw that movie.
That's funny. We'll have to do that. The Mummy's one of my favorites. I think it's a fucking blast.
Oh yeah, no, I love it now. I just saw it. We went to eat breakfast and it was like playing on one of the TVs, and I was
nice.
Such a good movie.
But yeah,
even the side characters were great.
Yeah,
like the priest,
Father Hennessy is awesome.
Is amazing, and that actor, he's so I don't want to say awkward because that's not the right. He's very eccentric.
Yeah,
and he always plays the roles in a way that like nobody else would play the role. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I love his character in this.
Dude, I do too. And his death scene is really fucking good.
It's like so good.
I love the shot. I love the shot of when he's trying to pour it and nothing's coming out, and then we see it from the real world perspective, and he's just drowning himself in alcohol. Yeah. So cool. Balthazar, played by Gavin Rossdale. Isn't that who it is? It's Gavin Rossdale is fucking really good too because he's so smarmy.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
What else is he in?
He's a musician.
I did not realize that's who that was.
You know who he is.
What does he sing?
He is the singer and rhythm guitar player for Bush.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yep. I was thinking that. I think that every single time I watch this movie, I'm like, that guy must be somebody. But I have no idea. I've never seen him in anything.
Yep. Balthazar.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he's so smarmy, and you just want him to get fucked up. There's some, so those scenes are great. The opening to this is also, it has a bunch of great set pieces. The opening set piece is also another example of just, you're just thrown into the world without any explanation. He just curses at it, punches the woman, and then says, "Get me a mirror." And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then that whole scene takes place, and he just throws him. You're just like, I guess this is how he does it. Like there's no explanation for why. Yeah. It's just that's how it is. It's demons are vain is the only explanation we're given. Demons are vain, so they like fall in love with their own reflection, and then he traps it in the mirror, and then breaks the mirror.
That scene, like it from the beginning of this movie, man. There is actually from the fucking like transition from the open to the movie was great. Like that, like desolate, like escape land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it
we get
transitioned
with the spear and everything, and the dude
Yeah.
getting fucking the dude getting wrecked by that car, and then just standing up and walking away.
Well, not only that, but like what came right before that, where
Yeah.
it's like shows the opening thing.
Oh, I know what you're. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, and but no, from the beginning of this movie, it's telling you what kind of movie it's going to be because that opening really played well.
Yeah, it's a great set piece. There's a couple other great standout set pieces. Pop Up Midnight's Club is awesome. Just going in there when we're first introduced.
All the like demons and angels, like half breeds, are just like
half breeds hanging out there,
so cool.
And we're just getting like little we get little snippets of backstory for people. You feel the history of these characters and like the world. It's like this is
it's like that. Go ahead, sorry.
It's like the fucking it's like the Continental and in the John Wick movies, where it's like
it is.
This is like the sacred ground. No fighting happens here. Demons, angels, half breeds, they all are together, Yes.
This is probably the first time I've watched this movie since I've seen the John Wick movies. And I could not help but think, like, I immediately was like, is this just John Wick with demons?
Kind of.
It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah. I love Constantine's, like, arc in the movie. I love how his struggle is he starts doing shit for selfish reasons, is to try to win his favor back into heaven. When he was young, he tried to unalive himself and then died for several minutes and then came back. So now his soul is damned. So he's trying to win favor to get into heaven because he's got a terminal cancer diagnosis, lung cancer diagnosis. So he knows his time is short.
I don't want to get into a philosophical discussion, but just like how unfair is that?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like you're a kid and you're seeing things and you think you might be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do something like that and realize that, oh, no, that's real. But now you've already you've already passed go and you can't go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's like a what if scenario. It's like.
If we were getting into,
it's horrible because like he was just completely like tortured, as a child for seeing things and experiencing things. That's just so sad. Like that scene, you get a glimpse of him on that bus as a kid.
The bus,
with like a demon just like scaring the crap out of him.
Yeah,
just torturing him.
Yeah. So it's a good setup for a character arc for Constantine. And then, he ends up helping Angela's character because she believes it. And, there's a great set piece that I love. The bug set piece is good. That's a really fun thing. And then I also love the when the lights start going out and he says sulfur.
Oh, when they're on the street?
On the street, yeah.
Yep.
I love that image. I've always loved that image of just the lights, and then he lights the thing, the wrap in it. Fucking awesome. That's awesome.
I know, and she is the detective is just like she's not a believer at this point, but she's kind of like at her last straw. You know what I mean? She knows that she needs assistance from
she
somebody
doesn't
who
believe her
understands the
sister.
occult. Yeah, because she thinks that her sister was brainwashed into.
She thinks she was
suicide.
murdered originally. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like she was. It wasn't something because she keeps saying it's not something she would do because she's Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I, in rewatching this, that scene in the church where Constantine is talking to Gabriel.
Yeah.
And she mentions sacrifice. Like when you hear it now, you're like, totally sets it up. But yeah, there's a lot of great like clues early on.
I love the scene with Gabriel.
Like,
I love the scene with Gabriel in the library when Gabriel, just
that dialogue
moves right into him and just says, "You're fucked."
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god.
I mean, he's not exactly been nice to her, so
no. No.
She's just reciprocating that without any, fluff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gabriel also is unhinged.
I mean, there is that. She does
trying to
try
bring back Mammon,
to bring
the
son of the devil.
son of the devil.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love the set piece in the office building when we get the sprinkler system and they all starts burning all of them. We get that great action set piece with the cool holy shotgun and all that good shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the scene. I remember seeing it in the trailers. My favorite shot in the movie when it pulls her out of the
through the elevator
office building, and he's running through the office building as it's pulling her through, and then we end on that shot of him stumbling up to it, and we pull out. That shit rocked. I remember being like, "Oh,
Yes,
this is great."
That's mind blowing. It's like the effects in this movie are spectacular,
especially for 2005. They aged pretty decently. I mean, there's some stuff that you obviously can tell is CG.
Definitely, but it's so cleverly done.
Yeah.
I caught an editing mistake this time through. I had never seen it before.
Oh, there definitely are a few.
Yeah.
What did you catch?
Whenever he's about to put her in the bathtub, and she's about to go to hell. There's a scene where he talks and it's showing the side of his face and he's not talking. And then it cuts to his face and he's talking. I'm like,
yeah, that's just some ADRing. That's some ADRing. Sometimes you.
I know, but it was an edit mistake in the fact that you could tell.
Yeah, there's definitely a few. I remember one, like, I don't know why I knew. I think I read this in a magazine like 100 years ago. That it was like, his watch, like.
Oh yeah, it moves.
His watch moves like several times.
Yeah, but that's just, you got to frame the shot, man. Look, as a filmmaker, I don't give any shits about that. You know what I mean? It's like
it's not something I ever would have noticed, but they kind of make it a point to look at it because it stops and they're like zoomed in on it, and then you're like, hang on a second.
I don't want to.
Now it's not in the blood. Like what's going on there?
Yeah, and I don't want to take us out of the discussion that we're having, but you're like, oh, I read this in a magazine 100 years ago. If you are of any significant age, do not calculate how many weeks you've been alive. Just don't do it. Just don't.
Is it scary?
It's so scary. Clark asked me yesterday, he was like, Dad, how many weeks have I been alive? And I'm like, I mean, you're 6, child, 300 something. He'd been alive for like 327 weeks or something like that. And he's like,
that's crazy.
Well, how old are you? And I was like, so I calculated. It was like 3,000 and something. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. All right, we get back to our.
Well, I know I'm a couple thousand less than Derek, so I feel good about that.
There you go.
Yep. So, you mentioned it. The watch, that stuff is great, right?
Yes.
Like so I love the shot of first of all, I love how clever it is. He's, realizing, and he does it as sacrifice, but I think he also knows, but
he found a loophole is what you're saying?
Yeah, found a loophole. But I love that he, I love the shot of time freezing after he slits his wrist, and we see the shot of the blood running to the watch is a great shot. And then we watch the time stop. Then we get the introduction to the devil, Lucifer, or as John calls him, Lou. And that's Peter Stormare.
I would come to
God, how great is Peter Stormare? We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Or maybe last week. We talked about it last week. How great is he?
He's so great. He's so creepy.
And real. Yeah, and what really sets him apart is it's a completely different take on, like last week when we watched End of Days, like that guy's interpretation of the devil, or Al Pacino. It's super unique, and I love it. It's very like he gets close to his face and he's like does that thing, and you're just like, don't breathe on me, devil.
I just always love it. I always quote, "Do you want an extension?
You want an extension?"
It's the best. Always quote it. But yeah, I love that, he's basically like, so, he calls the devil because he knew that earlier in the movie they said John Constantine's soul is the only one that Lucifer himself would come up to collect, because basically John's fucked him over so many times. And so he did. He came up wearing his Sunday best to collect him. And
with his tar on his feet.
Tar on the feet. And then so he's like, but I want something. He's like, I want something in exchange. It's a deal. And he's like, okay, deal's a deal. And that's they do on extension. And he's like, no, I want the girl's sister's soul. He's like, that's it. And he's like, yep. He's like, all right, done. Thinking that he's gonna drag him. And I love that the ground just starts crumpling because heaven's gonna take him. Yeah. And what I love when he starts going to heaven, he flips him the bird.
Dude, that's so funny every time.
So good.
Then he pulls the cancer out of his chest, because like you'll fuck up again, and you'll be back with me. I'm gonna give you another chance to fuck up. You're not getting him. He's mine. What do you guys think of that? That's great, right?
Oh yeah,
yes, it's so good. It's crazy. I'll never forget the first time I saw it. It was like, what? Like that's such a good plot. It's such a good story.
Yeah, it's really good. And I love that I love Gabriel getting like freaking fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the wing just getting.
When he comes through there and like he like shatters the glass and it's all just kind of
just
like
moving it,
suspended in time, kind of.
Well, I am the, I will smite you, and just fucks Gabriel up with these.
You know what's crazy? Well, excuse me. He fucks him up with these because God didn't have his back at that point.
Correct.
But what I was gonna say is, you really that was a big gamble, right? He had to know that the devil was, I mean, obviously he's selfish, but that when he came up here, like, oh hey, look, your son's trying to take what's yours.
It's yours. Yeah.
He knows that it's a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, well, but he also knows that God and Satan have like kind of rules, right? There's rules to the game, and so he's like, he knows that he has to play by the rules because them's the rules. And so Gabriel getting
smited by the Almighty Smiter.
Yeah, getting smited by the devil, and then getting punched in the face at the end.
Oh,
is just the best.
That hurts my face.
I do love when she exits the pool originally and she's like, oh, you want revenge? Here, take it.
Kill me.
Take it. Yeah. Before I can commit any sin or anything, send me home. This is not going to be good for me. And he's like, pain, get used to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
So Gabriel, I believe, is actually a male character played by a female. Is played by Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured it was supposed to be unisex.
Yeah, kind of is. Yeah.
It's a great choice, and her costume is so cool. With the hospital wristbands on, and like the layers,
the way she's wrapped, and the
way she delivers dialogue, man. How could you not have cast her?
Oh, she's so cool.
I know,
so cool. And then, dude, freaking, we didn't talk about it, but when Chas gets fucked up.
I missed this part.
Chas Kramer, you asshole.
I must have been doing something.
Chas Kramer, asshole, then he gets fucked up.
I also love, like, you don't get any, this goes back to what you said, you don't get any explanation for it, but he's had those tattoos on his forearm the entire movie, and then he breaks them out, and he's whatever is out there, he's summoning into the light to be visible. I love that.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, it's
a
great
so
visual.
Pissed. Yeah. And then the way he does it, because he's just so mad, he undoes it, and then brings it into the light. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. Yeah, I love how he gets the information from Balthazar, by the way. Love how he's beating the shit out of him with the brass knuckles and stuff. and then he threatens to read the last rites to send him to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh no, I'll tell you everything." And he's like, "You've got to ask for forgiveness, dumbass."
Yeah.
No wonder
Like,
they're
fucking
counting
idiot.
the days till he goes to hell prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
The best.
Yeah.
That John Constantine, he's not a nice guy.
Yeah. He definitely is not to them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The end is great too. I do love that we never get a full on like romantic scene between our leads. We just get close, but
fairly implied, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but we never get it. It's just like inches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What kind of date are you gonna go on if you're those two after what you've been through? Hey, you want to go to a movie?
Yeah, go maybe some air together.
If I were him, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to go vampire hunting?"
There you go. Yeah.
So
like, we have other problems to deal with now.
Mm-hmm.
So the ending. What do you guys think of the ending? The him doing the cigarette shake and then pulling out a stick of gum.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're like, man, he's gonna make the same mistake again, and then he doesn't. Goes nicotine.
Yep. Now, I mean, I agree, but part of me also is like, it's kind of going against who this character is, but maybe he's learning, you know.
Yeah, he's evolving.
Because the John Constantine would never quit smoking.
Yeah. I can see that. I guess I came from it from like just only seeing this movie, knowing
and a character growth. I mean, it's a shorthand for character growth. It's a shorthand for.
Definitely don't want him to like pick up a cigarette right after all that just happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The Derek just didn't want him to pick up a cigarette ever.
No.
Yeah.
Get that out of here, man.
So this is a little side note. We were going over the script and we were breaking down the scenes, and we get to one of the characters' death scenes, and this character's outside and they pull out a cigarette and the script start smoking it, and Derek's like reading, he's like, okay, so we get this what, blah, blah. And I was like, what's wrong? He's like, pulls out a cigarette. I don't like that. Oh. I started laughing. It's like, you're fucking wild, man. You're wild. But yeah, what about the after credit scene?
I missed the after credit scene. I heard it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I already walked out of the room.
You've never seen the after credit scene, Derek?
Not that I can recall. Describe it, and I'll tell you if I've seen it.
After the credits, Constantine is at Chaz's grave and basically saying goodbye, and then Chaz appears as an angel. Then we cut. You guys have never seen this scene?
No.
I don't remember that at all.
What?
20 years? 20 years, and I never knew that there was an end credit scene. You're pulling a...
No.
That's what
I'm telling you. Here, I'm going to pull it right now.
That's pretty cool, actually. I heard the TV
You have
come back on.
literally blown my mind right now, man.
Like, I hear something going on, and I thought it was just like the next movie playing or something, because a different movie did start playing, which was Sleepy Hollow.
All right, I'm going to share this with you guys. Derek, you're muted. You're muted this entire time.
I mean, I just started talking.
Oh, okay.
We'll
I come in and Derek's
like it did.
It was so quiet for a second there.
Yeah.
Derek's
First off, never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, me either.
Secondly, that side thing where that guy said Constantine is a craven of garbage. You son of a bitch. That's what I gotta say.
I saw that too.
No, that's a show called Caravan of Garbage. It's a podcast that I watch.
Okay.
That's why they show it.
Oh, I thought he was saying it was a caravan of garbage. I was about ready to go.
Yeah.
Give that guy a piece of my mind.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of that?
Really cool.
I can't believe you guys have never seen that. I watched it like the very first time. I watched the movie.
Yeah. That's really
This
cool.
was one of the early after credit scenes.
He looked really cool. Like he
Because
looked
you think
angelic.
I mean, this was prior to the Marvel movie. This was like before after credit scenes were the norm.
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
Mhm.
that is really cool. That's another thing I don't think about when I watch this is that it's a DC movie. I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
it's a DC
this
comic
is
movie.
just like a cool supernatural drama. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Dang.
That blew your mind, Derek?
Yeah. I 20 years, man. 20 years. I didn't know that.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah. Damn near
So
20 years.
I watched
19.
this DVD that I have, the one that I showed you guys, is incredible because it has the director's commentary and it has a shitload of special features. Like, I mean, it has 18 minutes of deleted scenes. It has an alternate ending. It has a whole documentary on, like, tons of little documentaries on the making of the movie. So a lot of the backstory of the movie that I rattled off while we were doing this podcast is because I have this 20-year-old DVD that has all these amazing special features on it. That when this movie came out, when this DVD came out, I watched. I remember being up in my room watching all these extras multiple times. I used to love. I still do love listening to directors' commentaries. I mean, that's the filmmaker in me. But I like to listen to directors' commentaries and watch the behind the scenes because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would love to see those. I'm gonna look for that when I go to Goodwill. I'm gonna start scanning for that specifically.
Batman Begins that came out around the same time. The Batman Begins DVD I still have, is like this, same like a slipcover case, has a comic book inside, a couple of early Batman comics. It's really freaking cool.
Nice.
I wish they still did shit like that. That's where it's at. That's the good shit there. All right, guys, and that is Constantine. Anything we missed?
I feel like we missed so much. Probably, I could talk about this movie forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we nailed the basic beats, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So how are we feeling about Constantine?
I suppose you're gonna want me to go.
Why are you talking so quietly and monotonely?
I am not talking monotonely. I'm trying to get back to Airtable. Man, so this movie, it's been a little. I've seen this movie probably 10 times. It's been a little while since I've seen it, and man, it's just a good movie. It's solid.
Yeah.
We gave the actors props, and every single one of them deserved it because they all did a great job. Even like the more minor characters, I feel like were really like that. We didn't talk about the bug guy who gives him the dragon's breath. I love that little scene where he was like, because he knows he's about to die.
Beekman?
Yeah, he knows he's about to die, and he's like, John, I know you've never really believed, but we've always believed in you.
Yeah.
He did a great job. I feel like the story was
Beeman
well told.
Is his name, Beeman.
Yeah. The story was well told. They didn't treat the audience like children by explaining. You're right. You nailed it there. And those are things you don't really need to know. They're an element of the story, but they don't make the story any more interesting or less interesting. The only thing I would want different, man, and if they would have included it as like a little like thing on the DVD, like a 5-minute cartoon or something of Papa Midnight's one shaman against 30 whoever. Like, I would love to see what that looks like. But anyway, this movie is great. I love this movie. I was really disappointed that in the 20 years that this has been out that we haven't gotten a sequel yet. And you have always heard the rumblings of a potential sequel, but they've never actually done it. Missed opportunity.
I mean, let me tell you this. In 2023, Francis Lawrence, the director of the movie, gave an update on the project indicating that work had proceeded following the conclusion of the Writers' Strike Guild. Reeves and Goldsman have been meeting and discussing the story.
God,
so we still might get a legacy sequel to this movie. Elseworld sequel, and I would 100% be down.
100%, man.
Actually, you know what would be legit is if in the DCU, if the Constantine for that DCU was just Keanu Reeves as John Constantine.
That would be pretty cool.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this movie... It's at least a solid 8. I'm trying to decide if I want to give it an 8.5. I love this movie. I'm going to give it an 8.25. I'm going to split the difference.
Oh my god.
All right.
Same me.
So I'm just going to go ahead and give this movie a 10 that it deserves, okay? Because this movie is so good. I have zero complaints about this movie. If I had any complaints, I was actually joking about this with Jake, is that one of my serious complaints is like the demons themselves. I think they're cool, but I wish there was more like variety in them. They all look exactly the same, which I totally
kind of generic. That's fine.
I totally understand that from like a CGI perspective of like trying to do a million of those. But
do like the design of them though. I do like
the design is awesome.
The little small brain. I like that
half head situation.
Yeah.
But the joke that I had was, my complaint is that at the end Gabriel just goes back into the pool. But that's not even a real complaint. That's just a silly thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a 10. I think all the shots are fantastic. I love the direction. I love the acting. I love the story. Like, this is such a good movie. Like, I can't get enough of it. It's so good. I wish there would have been a sequel.
Yeah, and we might get one. Let's hold out hope.
And I hope we do. I really hope we do. I think we will. I really think we will get a sequel.
Like, I mean, if we're having a Beetlejuice, a 5-year later Beetlejuice movie, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie an 8 as well. I think it's really, really good. I think it's one of my favorites of the superhero, supernatural genre. It's right up there with End of Days. I think this one's more fun than End of Days, which End of Days is a lot of fun. This is just more stylish and fun, I think. And I think it's just since this movie came out, I've always loved it. I thought it was really good. Really, I love the atmosphere of it, the atmosphere of the world. I love the performances. I just, is it comic accurate? No, but does it get the vibe of the comic? Yes. So, yeah, I really dig Constantine. It's going to get an 8 from me as well. Recommend highly. It rules. All right. So now comes the hard part, guys. It's time to Atkinize Constantine. Who would the great Tom Atkins play in this one?
Thrill me.
Oh, man. I was going over this with Jake, too, but I just pictured him as John Constantine.
He would be pretty badass as John Constantine.
He really would. Like, I mean, he's got the blonde thing in his favor,
He would be. But, I mean, I'd have a hard time replacing Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it would have to be
so good.
An alternate universe version.
Yeah, if there's an alternate universe, he would make an excellent Constantine. What do you think, Derek?
He would. I think that, yeah, I wouldn't replace Keanu Reeves, but I think in an alternate world, he would make a good one. I agree with that.
Yeah. Just imagine him being like, the name's Constantine. John Constantine, asshole. And you're like,
yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got it. He's got the sass for it.
Already got the smoking down, Already looks cool as hell smoking, so we're good. I got good news and bad news. Good news is your dates are here. The bad news is they're dead.
Yes, dude. Exactly.
God, how good is that movie? We have to watch that again. Not for the podcast, but we just have to watch it again. Night of the Creeps. Fucking classic.
Definitely. So fun.
All right. Derek, I dread to ask this, but it's your turn to pick.
Oh, no. It's Derek's turn?
Derek's turn.
Derek,
so mean.
What do you got?
That's so mean.
What you got?
Something good?
That's
He's
so
looking.
mean.
He's
I am looking. I don't know.
I can see see it in his glasses.
I can see it in his eyes.
I can see it in your eyes.
Oh, he's singing.
Yeah, you don't want me to sing. I will.
He's got the microphone and he's singing.
Rot your brain out of your mind.
He's
There's
in
a reason
store
why
and
when I
singing.
start to sing, my daughter says, "Dad, stop."
What are you leaning towards? What are you feeling?
I don't know. Let me see how long this list is.
We've done 3 devil movies in a row, so.
Yeah, we have. Maybe take a break from old Satan.
All right.
Rest.
Give old
Lydia.
Satan a rest.
I want you to pick a number between 1 and 272 and then
Are
divide
you
it
kidding
by
me?
3.
How about 271?
271 divided by 3? All right, 90. What's the
Okay.
number 90 on this list?
Man, if it's clear down at 90, that's going to be fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Dang, I should have
Unless it's alphabetical.
picked the highest number possible.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Actually, I think we've already done this.
Oh,
What is
is
it?
The fourth kind?
We have.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
That was my pick, and it did not hold up.
Yeah.
We did the one before that. We are not to that one or not to that one. Hey,
Okay,
Lydia.
Derek, I'm going to give you another number. Right, you ready? 43.
All right, I'm going to multiply that by 6.25.
No, just go up to 43 in the list.
Multiply that by 6.25.
Ah!
Ah,
Okay.
43?
Yeah, I like this movie.
Okay.
All right, you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Number 43, The Crazies,
Oh,
Ooh, which one?
Which one?
from 2010.
Okay, the remake.
Timothy
Should we do
Olyphant.
George
Yeah.
Romero's original
Heck yeah.
first?
Nope. This is the one that's cited.
That'll be the extra credit.
Well, we'll have to watch it for the
Well, you
podcast. It
will
is a
watch it, yeah.
George Romero movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
So
The Crazies. Let's see
look
where
and
it's
see if where the
streaming.
crazies are streaming, Derek.
That's what I was gonna do.
I feel like that was one that was just like always on TV too. So hopefully it's streamed.
Let's see. Looks like it is on a Amazon Prime, I think, maybe.
Okay.
YouTube Premium, or that's Prime Time. YouTube TV. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe Amazon is the only one that it's streaming on that you don't have to. Oh,
Okay.
nope. That one you have to
Jesus, Derek, just tell us.
start with a Movie Sphere 7-day free trial. I've never even heard of Movie Sphere.
Have not either. All right. So it's
Crazy.
streaming on all those places Derek just awkwardly named Vance style.
Well, at least I'm not a fascist, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You have that going for you. So next week we will be watching the remake of George Romero's The Crazies, and then maybe in a couple weeks we'll watch the actual Crazies. Starring Timothy Olyphant. So Derek, you got a story for us?
Let's see. A good story.
It's like you could have thought about it all day, even.
Man, I
even was thinking about it, Derek.
well, if you've got one, feel free to share.
No, I was thinking about a story for you to tell.
Oh my god. If you don't have a story, I'll tell you a story. It's a little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Hmm.
You know, they were two American kids growing up in the heartland.
My man, I don't know.
No,
Go ahead.
so I'll tell you a story that involves Constantine. Actually, I have a Constantine story.
All right,
So,
go.
Around the time this movie came out, and I was kind of obsessed with it, they had released a Constantine video game for the PS2 and Xbox, the original Xbox, or Xbox 360. It was one of those. I think it was regular original Xbox. And yeah, so it was PS2 and Xbox. Yeah, so I rented this thing when it came out, and I remember, like, I hadn't had a chance to play it yet. I went to the video store, rented it, had to work, and I had to work like a late shift. Like, I think I got off at midnight, around 11 or midnight, and my car broke down. So I couldn't drive to work. I got a ride to work, and I had to walk home at 11 o'clock. And I remember walking from one side of the town to the other back home.
That's a long walk.
It is. And I was thinking the entire time about this Constantine video game that I rented. And like looking at the instruction manual and was like, man, wonder how cool this game's going to be. Hopefully it's like the movie and all of this stuff. And I remember just such a long walk. I get home and I put this game in and I started to play it. And it was like, close to midnight. And back in those days, I stayed up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, when I was young, just out of high school. And I played this movie for maybe, I played this game for like maybe 10 minutes. It was like, this thing sucks. I spent this whole walk. I ended up playing it the next day, and it was okay, but I remember playing it and being like, no, not feeling this at all. This is not near as cool as the movie. Not near as cool as the movie.
This isn't Max Payne.
Yeah, this does not immerse me into this story. So it's not as good. Oh, that's very clever. So yeah, that's my Constantine video game story. You can follow us online. You can find us at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us at Facebook at Facebook.com/HiLaProductions. You can find us each on Twitter. Derek is DDogTheMaster, Lydia is Spooky, and I am at Racket. So look for the link in the description where we'll be putting you to the page for the movie, and give what you can if you can. And we will be seeing you guys in the future. Next week, we will watch... I don't know what that was, Derek, but...
He yawned so big that his background came into focus.
That was wild. Derek, quit making that face. It's disturbing. Next week, we'll be watching the 2010 remake of George Romero's The Crazy, starring Timothy Olyphant. Be sure to comment down below your favorite scenes of Constantine. What you guys think about any of the stuff we talked about. And, of course... I want to know what you think about Derek's line readings as well, because if you want to see a good one, go watch I Saw What I Saw. He gives a great line reading in the porch. Right, Derek?
You look like you've seen a ghost.
There it is. That's it. So until next week, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.